between the Republic of Kenya and the United Arab Emirates. At Order 15 is a motion by the Chairperson, Special Funds Accounts Committee. The motion is on the report on the audited accounts for the Judiciary Mortgage Scheme Fund for the financial years 2011 and 2012 to 2021 to 2022. At Order 16 is a bill, the Judges Retirement Benefits Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2025. This bill has been lined up for debate for the second reading. The principal object of this bill is to provide for the pension and other retirement benefits to judges of superior courts and for connected purposes. The bill has been in development since the late 1990s and marks a significant step towards realizing the principles of the Constitution in respect of the judiciary, its independence, and the remuneration and benefits of judges of superior courts. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula, has stepped into the chambers. Let me now hand you over for this live broadcast. My name is Edward Kabasa. Enjoy your viewing.
Waheshimiwa, tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umeteua nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu, tukusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Tukuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote tutakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako siendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Sergeant, ring the quorum bell.
As we wait for the House to achieve the requisite quorum, that is 50, we'll continue taking a look at the order of business. The order paper is you can find day, and at order number 17 is a motion by the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Labor. The motion is on the consideration of sessional paper number 5 of 2023 on the national policy on labor migration. At order number 18 is a motion by the Chairperson, Special Funds Accounts Committee. The motion is on the report on the audited accounts for the Commodities Fund for the financial years 2018 and 2019 to 2021 and 2022. At order number 19 is another motion by the Chairperson, Special Funds Accounts Committee. This one also regards the report on the audited accounts for the Stores and Services Fund for the financial years 2020 and 2021 and 2021 and 2022, and the Occupational Safety and Health Fund for the financial years 2021-2022. The Chairperson, Special Funds Accounts Committee also has a motion at order number 20 on the report on the audited accounts for the Land Settlement Fund for the financial years 2020 and 2021 and 2021 to 2022, and the Railway Development Fund holding account for the financial years 2017 to 2018 to 2021 and 2022. At order 21 is a motion by the Chairperson, Committee on Public Petitions. The motion is on the consideration of a petition regarding pollution on River Athi. The chairperson, Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry and Mining, was a motion at Order 22, and it's on the consideration of the Privileges and Immunities, the Global Center for Adaptation Order 2025. Those are some of the businesses that are contained in the order of business this afternoon. The business of the National Assembly, which will begin once the quorum has been achieved. The quorum bell is currently ringing, and the respective leadership of the House is at the moment mobilizing that, and two will be responded to. Honorable Member Joseph Hamisi will request a statement on the nationwide livestock vaccination program. The relevant committee is Agriculture and Livestock. The Honorable Member for Mandera South, Abdul Haro, will request a statement on the status of electricity connectivity in Kotulo sub-county. The relevant committee to handle this statement is the Energy Committee. The member of the Mombasa County, Honorable Zamzam Mohammed, will request a statement on the status of compensation to the victims of Owino Uhuru area. The Justice and Legal Affairs is the committee that will handle this statement, which will be requested by the Honorable Member. And the Member of Parliament for Gatanga constituency, Honorable Wakili Muriu, will request a statement on delayed completion of various road projects in Gatanga constituency. The relevant committee that will handle this is the Transport and Infrastructure. There are two statements which will be responded to. One from the Honorable Member for Luanda, Dick Maungu. The statement is in regards to the management and operational strategies of Kenya Railways. The committee that was charged with this is the Transport and Infrastructure. The same committee will be responding to a statement which was sought by the Honorable Member from Mombasa County, Zamzam Mohammed, and the statement regards the safety of ferries operated by the Kenya Ferry Service. Those are the two statements which will be responded to this afternoon, the statements which were requested by the Honorable Member for Luanda constituency and the Honorable Member for Mombasa County. If you're just joining us, these are live pictures from the National Assembly chambers on this 12th day of November 2025. We are waiting for the House to quorate. The number required as per the standing orders is 50, and the quorum bell has been ringing for some minutes now. And according to the standing orders, once the 10 minutes have elapsed and there's still no quorum, the Speaker will once again order the quorum bell to be rung for a further 5 minutes. And if the quorum is not achieved after those 5 minutes, then the Speaker will have no other choice but to adjourn the House. The morning sitting was adjourned because the members couldn't attain the required numbers, and we did see that happening. And of course, all that is contained in the standing orders, the 7th edition of the National Assembly. That document is also available on www.parliament.go.ke. You can download the standing orders and educate yourself with how the business of the National Assembly is conducted.
Session of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Machele, take the nearest seat. Honorable members, welcome to the afternoon session. I wish to recognize a delegation of staff from the Parliament of Ghana. I wish to welcome 4 members of staff from the Hansard Department of the Parliament of Ghana. The officers are on a visit to the National Assembly to benchmark with the Directorate of Hansard and Audio Services to gain practical knowledge in end-to-end editorial workflow and to adopt best practices in Hansard production. They are welcome to observe the proceedings of the National Assembly. Thank you. In Ghana, thank you, they say midase. Also allow me, honorable members, to welcome Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology. I believe they are students from Lurambi, Kakamega. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome you to the House of Parliament. Enjoy the proceedings. Next.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, November 12th, 2025, afternoon sitting. Reports of the Auditor General and the financial statement for the year ended 30th June 2025 and the certificates therein with respect to 1. Affordable Housing Finance Project, IBRD credit number 8958-KE, the National Treasury. Number 2, Global Fund Project to contribute to achieving Vision 2030 through universal access to comprehensive HIV prevention, treatment, and care. Project number KEN-H-TNT 2065, Ministry of Health. 3, Global Fund Project to contribute to achieving Vision 2030 through universal access to comprehensive HIV prevention, treatment, care grant number KEN-TNT-4147 National Syndemic Disease Control Council. Number 4, Green Zone Development Support Project, Phase 2, credit number PKE-AAD-005, Kenya Forest Service. Number 5, Horn of Africa Gateway Development Project, IDA, credit number 6768-KE, Kenya Revenue Authority. Number 6, Kenya ETF Reporting Program to the UNFCCC Project, State Department for Environmental and Climate Change. 7, Kenya Institute for the Blind. 8, National Commission for Science, Technology, and Innovation. 9, National Council for Nomadic Education in Kenya. 10, National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement Project credit number 7355-KE and grant number E210-KE, State Department of Labor and Skills Development. Number 11, Public Debt Management Support Project, ADB, grant agreement number 5500155013-708, the National Treasury. Number 12, Reproductive Health Output-Based Approach, RH-OBA, Program Project number BMZ, number Kenya 2010-65853, Ministry of Health. Number 13, State Department for Parliamentary Affairs. 14, State Department for Technical Vocational Education and Training. And number 15, Technical Support to the French Desk at the National Treasury. Project grant number AFD CKE 120401E, the National Treasury. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I lay.
Thank you, Deputy Majority Whip. Next.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
1 minute. Requests for statements. Joseph Hamisi. Nominated member. Who is Hamisi? Joseph Hamisi. Abdul Haro, Mandera South. Zamzam Mohammed, Mama Mombasa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs regarding the status of compensation to the victims of uhuru area over lead poisoning in Jomvu constituency. Honorable Speaker, the residents of uhuru area in Jomvu constituency have endured severe health and environmental impacts resulting from lead poisoning caused by toxic waste from metal refinery EPZ Limited. On 6th of December 2024, the Supreme Court upheld a judgment awarding the residents 1.3 billion Kenya shillings in compensation for personal injury and loss of life arising from environmental pollution caused by the lead acid battery recycling plant. The judgment affirmed the grave suffering inflicted on the victims, particularly women and children, including cases of stillbirth, organ failure, and death. Regrettably, the residents are yet to receive compensation. The inaction has prolonged the suffering of the affected families, many of whom endured chronic illness. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the Departmental Committee of Justice and Legal Affairs on the following. 1. The status of enforcement of the Supreme Court judgment issued on 6th December 2024 regarding the compensation of residents of uhuru area in Jomvu constituency who suffered severe health effects due to lead poisoning from toxic waste emanated by metal refinery EPZ Limited. 2, the steps being taken by the government through the National Environmental Authority and other relevant bodies to implement and enforce the court's decision so as to safeguard the rights of victims. 3, the immediate measures being put in place to ensure that the affected families receive urgent medical and financial assistance. And 4, the mechanism put in place to ensure compliance with environmental conservation measures to forestall further emission of toxics by metal refinery EPZ Limited. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mama Zamzam. Jailak, Murugara, members of Jailak, Majority Leader, can you inform the Honorable Murugara to bring a response in 2 weeks?
I will do so, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Tungule.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. This is a request for a statement regarding the death and burial of the late Jessica Kashutu Zero in Saudi Arabia. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations regarding the circumstances surrounding the death and burial of the late Jessica Kashutu Zero, a Kenyan citizen who passed away in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Honorable Speaker, the late Jessica Kashutu Zero, a resident of Sosodemu Village, Madamani sublocation in Ganze constituency, was working in Riyadh City, Saudi Arabia, as a domestic worker when he tragically passed away on 30th June 2025. Following her death, the Integrated Center for Peace and Security, ICPS, a registered non-governmental organization that assists Kenyans in distress abroad wrote to the Principal Secretary, State Department of Diaspora Affairs on the 7th August 2025, seeking assistance to facilitate repatriation of the remains. However, while follow-ups were being made with the Diaspora Affairs Office, the organization and the family were informed that the late Jessica Kashutu Zero had been buried in Saudi Arabia, together with 5 other Kenyans without the knowledge and consent of the families, and apparently without notification to the government of Kenya. The families of the deceased are therefore seeking justice, transparency, and closure. They wish for exhumation and repatriation of the remains of their loved ones for burial in Kenya. This revelation has caused deep anguish and confusion among the families, who have since appealed to the government for intervention and for communication with Saudi authorities to establish how such burials could have occurred without their knowledge and consent. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations on the following. 1. The cause of death of the late Jessica Kashutu Zero, whether any postmortem examination was conducted in Saudi Arabia, and the postmortem report. Second, details of the person or body that granted authorization of the burial of the late Jessica Kashutu Zero and the other Kenyan citizens in Saudi Arabia without the consent of their families, and whether the government of Kenya was notified. Third, the steps being taken by the ministry to facilitate the exhumation and repatriation of the remains of the deceased person to Kenya for proper burials by their families. And lastly, measures in place to ensure that Kenyans working abroad, especially domestic workers, are accorded their rights, and that their employers are held accountable for any death, unpaid dues, or violations of international labor laws. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Signed today by Honorable Kazungu Tungule MP Ganze. Thank you, sir.
You are directing to which committee?
It is the committee, the chairperson, Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations.
Is member for Konoini here? Bashir, you are the vice chair. Bring a response in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We will bring the response in 2 weeks.
Which chair are you addressing?
The Speaker.
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. We'll bring the response in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks. Thank you. Wakili Muriu.
Thank you, Mr.
As
Speaker.
Wakili stands, is Joseph Hamisi in the house? And is Abdul Haro in the house? Go on, Wakili.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of the Standing Order number 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the delayed completion of the Kirwara, Kegio, Jogo, Kimakia Road, Kimatu, Idangarare, Magomano Road, and Diara, Keriaine, Wadohi Road in Gatanga constituency. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Rural Roads Authority, KERA, is mandated to develop, maintain, and manage rural roads across the country. Despite the initiation of the Kirora Kegio Kimakia and Kimatu Idangarare and Magomano Road way back in 2017, the roads remain incomplete to date, and the contractor has since vacated site without explanation. The situation has caused immense inconvenience to local residents who continue to grapple with the poor road conditions that hinder access to essential services and economic opportunities. Similarly, the Ndiara Keriaine Wadohi Road, whose constructions commenced in 2021, also remains incomplete. The contractor has abandoned the site midway, leaving the roads in an impassable state. It is believed that the contractor abandoned the sites due to delayed payment by the responsible agencies. The current state of these roads has adversely affected the transport, trade, access to school, markets, and health facilities in the constituency. The President himself has made numerous promises to make good of those roads. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. 1, plans by the Kenya Rural Roads Authority, KERA, to complete construction of Kirwara, Kegio, Jogo, Kimakia Road, Kematu, Idhangarare, Magomano Road, considering that considering that the contract commenced way back in 2017. Expected timelines when the contractor will return to the site to complete the construction of the Ndiara Keriaini Wadohi Road. And thirdly, Mr. Speaker, measures the ministry has put in place to ensure that such long-standing projects are completed within stipulated timelines and to ensure timely payments of contractors to prevent project delays. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Muriu. Chair Transport. Daud. Give to Daud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd wish to respond first to...
You can't.
Sorry?
It's a request that
Oh,
has
it
been
was a
made
request.
now.
Sorry, I thought it was the statement.
You are not,
yes,
you are
we
not
will...
attending.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. We
Bring
will
a
respond
response.
to Honorable Muriu within 2 weeks.
Good. Now we go to Honorable Dena. Are you ready with your request? Not yet. So we'll come back to that. Let's go to responses. Is Dick Maungu in the house? Honorable Dick Maungu. Honorable Zamzam. Dawood, are you ready? To Honorable Zamzam on the safety of ferries. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I had for Maungu.
There he walks in. So you start with Maungu. Maungu, can you tender an apology for your late coming? Give him the mic. The house starts at 2:30.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I actually sincerely apologize for walking in late. I was head up somewhere. I'm very sorry, Mr. Speaker.
Daud, respond to the request by Honorable Dick Maungu of Luanda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to respond to Honorable Maungu's question regarding regarding the report on the assessment of the management on operational strategies of Kenya Airways.
To the office first.
Yes.
Let's do it tomorrow.
Kenya Airways, including its current fleet, position, growth trajectory, and regional competitiveness. Honorable Speaker, the assessment reveals a tale of past challenges and promising turnaround. Kenya Airways' current operational strategy is anchored on the Project Kifaru, a bold initiative launched in 2021 and refined in 2023, which focuses on aggressive cost containment, strategic debt restructuring, diversifying revenue streams. That this disciplined execution culminated in an historic achievement.
Order, Honorable Dena. Can you go back where you've come from? Go to the bar, bow, and cross the floor. It's now 3 years since we started. I'm sure you know this. Go. On, Daud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will repeat routes. Of this, 25 aircraft, 64%, 6% are owned or under finance lease. The fleet is currently adequate for its existing network of over 40 destinations across 4 continents. However, for future growth, the airline plans to add 21 aircraft over the next decade and invest in wide-body freighters to address cargo capacity shortages. Number 4, Honorable Speaker, it's the growth trajectory is focused on densifying network, expanding connectivity to Asia, the Middle East, and North America, and transitioning from the small Embraer E190s to the larger, more efficient medium-haul aircraft. On regional competitiveness, Honorable Speaker, KQ operates in an intensely competitive environment. It faces strong rivals as the Ethiopian Airlines, which benefits from deep state integration and a fleet of over 140 aircraft. Rwanda Air, which is fully government funded and now has Qatar Airways as a 49% equity partner and heavily subsidized Gulf carriers. A key differentiator for these competitors is the scale and structure of government support, which integrates airline strategy with hub development and provides policy protection. Regarding the plans by the Ministry of Roads and Transport to restore public confidence, improve service, customer service, and ensure Kenya Airways remains competitive. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry has a multi-pronged strategy to achieve these objectives. 1, the draft National Aviation Policy, a comprehensive policy that has been completed and awaits parliamentary approval to guide the sector's sustainable growth, safety, and competitiveness. 2, long-term investment plan for JKIA. The Ministry with Kenya Airports Authority is implementing a modernization plan for Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, including terminal expansion and runway rehabilitation to enhance KQ's operational base. Number 3, JKIA Service Charter, launched in March 2025. This charter sets clear performance standards for all airport stakeholders to ensure accountability, efficiency, and a customer-focused experience. Number 4, Interministerial Agency Committee. A high-level committee has been established to address specific challenges affecting KQ's competitiveness, including outstanding government debts and blocked funds in foreign markets. Number 5, Fly Kenya policy. This policy mandates the use of Kenya Airways and other local carriers for official government travel, boosting the airline's revenue and market share. Number 6, the airline partnerships and code-share agreements. The ministry supports KQ's efforts to expand strategic global alliances to enhance its network reach. Number 7, negotiation of bilateral air service agreements, that is BASAs. The ministry is proactively negotiating BASAs to secure more favorable and equitable terms for Kenya Airways in key international markets. Regarding the specific measures being undertaken to ensure that financial support is tied to performance conditions to protect the interests of taxpayers. Honorable Speaker, the government support to Kenya Airways has been structural, not as unconditional bailouts, but as performance-linked, repayable shareholder loans. Since March 2020, KQ has received 25 billion in such loans. Crucially, these loans earn interest for the Kenyan public and are repayable in full. This support is tied to strict conditions to protect the taxpayer, including 1, restructuring obligations, funds such as those under the Project
Can you
Kifaru.
paraphrase your statement?
It is finishing, Mr. Speaker. It's finishing. It's just 2 more. Project Kifaru.
2 pages or 2 paragraphs?
It's only 2 small paragraphs. 2 lines. Where conditional on reducing aircraft lease costs, meeting creditor obligations and implementing staff rationalization. 2, enhance governance and reporting. Disbursements require enhanced reporting to the National Treasury and Parliament, ensuring transparent and effective use of public funds. And lastly, audit by the Auditor General. Every financial support package is subject to audit by the Office of the Auditor General to ensure accountability. This approach ensured that KQ did not collapse, which would have caused an estimated USD 3.2 billion economic loss to Kenya, and instead treats public funds as an investment that will yield returns for the nation. I submit on behalf of my chair, Honorable G.K. Kariuki, a chairperson, Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, that's the...
Dick Maungu.
Thank you, Speaker. Once again, Mr. Speaker, I did say that I'm sorry for walking in late. I was held up in a meeting with artists in my office, and that's why I walked in late. All the same, Mr. Speaker, yesterday I got a 28-page document that did outline from KQ that talked about my questions, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, what the chairman has actually read, to me, is more perfunctory than at its best, because it does not address the real issues, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker...
Indeed, Daud, your statement was a litany of problems of Kenya Airways instead of strategies of Kenya Airways.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That's how I had it. I don't know.
Mr. Speaker.
It's up to you.
Mr. Speaker, I did put the question, but what Daud has actually given is a whole story from 2012. Mr. Speaker, KQ has engaged in massive projects from Project Bawingu, Operation Pride, Project Safari, Project Kifaru, but they are not addressed the real issues that KQ is suffering, Mr. Speaker. My question was, more of it, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to hear plans by the ministry, or rather KQ, to improve public confidence, to improve customer service, and ensure Kenyan Airways remains competitive, Mr. Speaker. Of late, Kenya Airways, Mr. Speaker, does not serve the public as it should. We have frequent cancellation of flights, Mr. Speaker. We have mistreatment of passengers at the airport, Mr. Speaker. As late as last week, Mr. Speaker, on Sunday, a member of this House was mishandled by a member with disability. His wheelchair was actually put in a cargo, whatever, Mr. Speaker, and he was left by KQ. So the chairman has not come out to actually tell us what it is that KQ is doing to ensure there's public confidence in KQ, Mr. Speaker. Their flights are expensive for nothing, Mr. Speaker. They keep on cancelling flights without due notice, Mr. Speaker. So, to me, this statement does not meet the threshold, and I wish that the chair can do more to this, Mr. Speaker. This is a weighty matter. I'm
Yes.
sure most of these members would also wish to talk on the same because it's a weighty matter, Mr. Speaker. And KQ must improve. KQ must pull up its stocks, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that public confidence, being a national carrier, Mr. Speaker, does as well. Mr. Speaker, you discover that...
You are now making a speech. You are just supposed to seek a clarification.
That's what I'm seeking in many words. Mr. Speaker, in Africa, KQ was the pride of Africa. But as we speak, it is not, Mr. Speaker. Ethiopian Airways, the Emirates, Rwandan Air are now beating a giant like KQ. So, Mr. Speaker, I beseech you and seek your indulgence that the statement must be redone so that we can actually have answers to these critical questions. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I was just watching your facial appearance and you are bored with the answer given because you are wondering, was this the KQ that you are used to or a different KQ? Because that answer was totally referring to another KQ maybe in the utopian world. Mr. Speaker, having said this, over the years, we have branded this as our national flag carrier, the pride of Africa. I'm not sure whether I'm willing to carry that tag of KQ being the flag of the pride of Africa. I wouldn't want to call it the shame of Africa. But that being said, Mr. Speaker, over the years, since I joined this parliament, the government of Kenya has offered KQ structural support, technical support, financial support, administrative support. The only thing that we get in return is wastages, poor PR, losses, Mr. Speaker. And this is the reason. The reason is this. The planes in use are all owned by cartels, Mr. Speaker. They are all owned by cartels who have leased to KQ at exorbitant rates, Mr. Speaker. And until that is addressed, then we are wasting public money, Mr. Speaker. And I want to challenge the chairman who has asked, start from the Boeing and all the other planes in service in KQ, find out who are the owners. You'll be surprised. It is owned by cartels. Mr. Speaker, if you dig further, you will make a loss. What measures has the KQ management put in place to remedy first their poor PR, the financial loss, Mr. Speaker, the wastages, and all the other challenges affecting KQ, including the poor government system? Mr. Speaker, if you look at, if you are to travel today on an economy, from here to Mombasa is the same cost as from here to Emirates, KQ. What are we saying? Does KQ operate in a different IATA platform or this is a completely different airline? It is high time that we institute a select committee, Mr. Speaker, a select committee out of this question, comprising of professional members, Mr. Speaker, from this house to critically interrogate the challenges facing KQ. That answer ought to be thrown to the dustbin. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleague here who asked for the statement, the member for Luanda, in saying that this statement needs to be redone. Because the statement simply is saying that you should not compare KQ with Qatar and others because they are government funded. The last time I checked, government owns about 48% of KQ. And Qatar and the rest are going to be, they are five-star airlines. But my question, Mr. Speaker, if I could take from what Honorable Kenani is saying, apart from the cartels of ownership, last week when you invited us to Mombasa, when I boarded when we were going to board the aircraft, we were taken by bus from the gate to the plane. And the bus took 1.5 minutes to arrive to the destination. And I'm sure that the owner of the bus was paid. And this is one of the many ways in which KQ is using to make it more expensive for it to run, and it is not running away from any cost cutting. It's not doing any cost cutting. In fact, we need to investigate more.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am of the contrary opinion, Mr. Speaker. The challenges in KQ are systemic.
Honorable Member for KO South.
Yes,
This is
sir.
not a debate. This
No,
is a statement.
I'm just giving a small background.
You are standing either to seek a clarification or nothing.
Okay, allow me 1 minute, Mr. Speaker, to just give a clarification.
What are you clarifying? You are not the respondent to the question.
I'm not a shareholder. Okay, Mr. Speaker.
If it's in your opinion that Kenya is very good, you have no question to ask.
No, it's not
Take your
good.
seat.
But
Yes.
I wanted to say the challenges that, you know.
Ask Dawood the question.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Maybe some information to the chair. Maybe some information to Dawood, Mheshimiwa. If it is allowed. Let me proceed. Mr. Speaker, if you compare KQ with other airlines, airline business requires a lot of investment. The Ethiopian Airways we talk about, look at how much money the government of Ethiopia has invested in terms of equipment, in terms of the airport. If we look at Qatar Airways and the partnership they have together with Rwanda Air was collapsed. Qatar Airways has invested money. Now it's getting up. If you look at airlines in Africa, look at South African Airways.
Honorable Kimayo, you are definitely the only stranger in Jerusalem. Take your seat. You are the only stranger in Jerusalem. Take your seat. Ruto.
Thank you, Chair. Allow me to take also a moment to weigh in to the request by the move of the statement that the committee should relook at that particular statement.
Kimayo, do you live in Kenya? Go and read a book by Chinua Achebe called The Trouble with Nigeria. Go on.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. The trouble within KQ and KQ operation, as rightly said, I would wish to invite the committee probably also to study America. We've been traveling, and if you go to the United States, not even a single airline that the state is owning. All the airlines are run by private citizens, and America is doing well in the states and outside the states. And they are doing well. They have never come down. For this one that the Kenyan government has been pumping every now and then resources. To me, I think the committee should also evaluate and tell us, is there any more profiting for government to own 40% or 48%? To be struggling, putting control, interfering with governance issues, putting up people who have no interest of the business, but people have other interests because they are coming, quote unquote, from the government point of view. It is time we need to agree. The other day we were discussing the issue of privatization. If the government can only reduce their shares to normal investment level and then allow private people with business concept and mind and entrepreneurial aspect so that they can be able to run this business, we ensure that it is effective in operation, serves the country well, connects Kenya to the other world, and makes profits, retains employment, creates opportunities, and then reduce the other resources to other opportunities to develop the country. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kamkunji, Hassan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to speak on the statement made by Honorable Dawood. I think Kenya Airways has serious problems that can only be redone or redeemed by a serious reform or change. And to a certain extent, it appears that is not happening. It is a bottomless pit. It's not because it is state-owned or it is partly private. There are many airlines in the world that are partly owned in partnership. It simply means it does not have the right management and organizational mentality to survive in the competitive environment of airlines that we have. For example, 3 times in the last 3 or 4 months, I've been traveling with Kenya Airways from Amsterdam and from London. And both occasions, they canceled when we had checked in without any explanation. If you are going to run an airline like that, there is no question that you're going to fail. So I want to add my voice to the other speakers to say that we should stop funding Kenya Airways. We should cut our costs and let it go private or let it go down so that a new airline that can serve the Kenyan public can come into its place. Because Nairobi is a central hub, is a regional hub, it's an African hub. Unless we are going to have a great airline like Ethiopian Airlines, we're never going to be a competitive country. Our airports are not served very well because of the weakness of Kenya Airways. We're not competitive enough. So Kenya Airways is taking down the development of Kenya's aviation industry. It is taking down Kenya's tourism industry. And it's a high time that we move forward so that we can reestablish Nairobi as the international African hub it should be.
Point made. The last one, Robert Mbui.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, Mr. Speaker, one of the pillars of business is basically customer service. And I think one of the problems that KQ has is customer service. And Speaker, for customer service, we need to interrogate how they train their workers. Mr. Speaker, you know, the Parliamentary Service Commission is actually one of the biggest customers of KQ.
True.
Now, when we have a case like the one we had recently of a member that is living with disability on a wheelchair, left at the airport and they've traveled with his wheelchair, that totally is unacceptable. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind you that when you were the leader of minority in the Senate, you went to Kenya Airways to take a flight from Nairobi to Mombasa. Not even an international flight. But they refused to allow you to board because you did not have your identity card. They knew you, they saw you.
I didn't have the identity, but I had their platinum card with me.
You had your platinum card, you had, I mean, they every day, they even could recognize you. But they refused to allow you to, what kind of PR is that? Yes. What kind of customer service is that? Yes. I think KQ needs to train their staff a lot better, otherwise they'll keep going down like Yusuf has said. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Daud.
Mr. Speaker.
Daud, hold. Let me give the last one to Rindikiri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What I see in KQ, Mr. Speaker, is poor management expenses controls. Mr. Speaker, the issue that we are witnessing at KQ is purely because of management is not able to control the expenses. And if you look at the ratio of management, it is beyond the acceptable international standard of that 5%. Mr. Speaker,
another commanded this to
order, Honorable Krima. You're obviously not listening. He was saying they don't have enough cargo. Krima, you're obviously not listening. He was saying they don't have enough cargo planes. He didn't say they don't have any cargo planes. He said they don't have enough cargo planes. He didn't say they don't have any cargo planes. Those are two different things. Can you finish? Why not?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Kelema is blind and is ignorant that Bode constituency produces a lot of flowers in this country. So I know I have more information than him. Mr. Speaker, I am saying, because we have certain route that KQ used to work so much on air travel, and they look at his business for business focus. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Dawood, colleagues are saying.
Yes, Mr.
You
Speaker.
see the variance with what you read to the House?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I understand what my colleagues and Honorable Maundu required, and Mr. Speaker, it's not that I do not know about Kenya Airways. When I was, and then even the banks, they could not be paid. They were converted into shareholder loans. Regarding the equipment, what Honorable Kenyan has talked about, I could probably agree halfway, but Mr. Speaker, the main problem has been forex hedging in the fuel. But we have, as a committee, in so that they can come either on Tuesday or on one or two other members, unless the Speaker...
Honorable Dawood, what you do, you pick the Hansard, read what Dawood, what you do, you pick the Hansard, read what your colleagues have said. It's a total variance with the statement you read to the House. In fact, I don't know whether you are reading a statement about Kenya Airways. So go back and get a response taking into account all the interventions we have received on the floor, and bring a statement on Thursday. No, Thursday is the State of the Nation address. Bring a statement on Wednesday afternoon.
Mr. Speaker, I would request
yes.
The statement to come after our meeting with Kenya Airways with the questionnaire.
When are you meeting Kenya Airways?
We are meeting most probably either on Tuesday or Thursday. We're just waiting.
So you bring the following Tuesday?
Yes, that's what I would
And you
request.
invite Honorable Maungu to attend your meeting to interrogate them.
Mr. Speaker, I would even go further to request that we be allowed to use the county hall if there are other members who
Permission
want to...
granted. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can I now read the other statement?
Zamzam, yes.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Zamzam had asked four questions. The report on, and she's got them already. Can I go to straight the answers? Yes. Honorable Speaker, the committee received a response from the Ministry of Roads and Transport through the Clerk of the National Assembly, which I wish to make. Regarding the report on the current operational status of the ferries in use at Likoni and Mutongwe Channel, including the safety audit reports conducted in the last 12 months, the ministry submitted that Kenya Ferry Services currently operates a fleet of 5 ferries at the Likoni Channel, MV Safari, MV Jambo, MV Likoni, MV Kwale, and MV Harambe. A 6th ferry, MV Nyayo, is currently out of service for long-term maintenance program and dry docking. Honorable Speaker, the detailed operational status of each ferry is as follows. MV Safari, which is 4 years old and it's operational, with expected dry docking in January 2026. MV Jambo, 7 years old, it's fully operational, and we expect the prow and hull repairs and replacement of propulsion engines by March 2026. MV Likoni, it's 14 years old, operational with all machinery functioning, recently underwent prow and hull repairs in May 2025, awaiting dry docking for underwater hull painting. MV Kwale, 14 years old, operational throughout the year. A tender has been awarded to Kenya Shipyards Limited for its upcoming structural and hull repairs. MV Harambee, 34 years old, operational and considered the most reliable for large vehicles and trailers. It is first in line for dry docking in the current financial year, with work scheduled to begin, it should have begun on 4th of August 2025. The vessel is due for decommissioning and replacement. And the last one is MV Nyayo, 34 years old. It's non-operational, undergoing long-term maintenance. Honorable Speaker, regarding upgrades, several measures are underway in the current financial year, including the repair and maintenance of firefighting systems on all operational ferries, 2, procurement of prow repairs for MV Jambo and MV Harambee, 3, acquisition of new propulsion engines for MV Jambo and new propellers for MV Harambee and MV Likoni, 4, dry docking of MV Likoni, Harambee, Safari and Jambo. 6, regarding the immediate measures the Ministry of Roads and Transport has undertaken to address the current state of ferry services at Likoni and Mutongwe crossings. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry has implemented both short-term and long-term measures. The short-term measures include strategic deployment of larger ferries, MV Jambo and Safari, for pedestrians and smaller ferries, MV Kwale and Likoni, for vehicles to manage increased pedestrian traffic. 2, conducting regular maintenance of existing ferry fleet. And 3, deploying police officers to assist in crowd control at the terminals. The long-term measures include acquisition of 1 new ferry expected to be delivered in April 2026, development of traffic circulation plan, which includes improving waiting bays and expanding ramps, and constructing a modern pedestrian holding bay on Likoni side. 3, implementation of socio-economic programs to reduce congestion, such as developing a special economic zone to provide alternative employment, establish a market in Likoni to serve local residents, upgrading Likoni sub-county to attract commercial services and reduce the need for cross-channel travel. 7, regarding an explanation on why the new emergency and safety equipment, including life jackets, life buoys, and other essential tools ordered by the government have not yet been delivered or commissioned, and indicate when they shall be deployed at the ferry terminals. Honorable Speaker, the authority maintains that all ferries are equipped with requisite life-saving appliances, LSAs, including life jackets, life buoys, and rigid life rafts. In the procurement of safety and periodic process, aging equipment is regularly disposed of and replaced based on identified shortages. There is no single delayed order for equipment. Instead, the authority engages in ongoing procurement to ensure a constant state of readiness. New equipment is deployed as soon as it is procured through the routine cycle. Regarding the steps taken by the ministry to ensure modernization of the ferry services and construction of alternative crossings to decongest and ensure safety of persons, the Likoni and Mutongwe ferry crossings. Honorable Speaker, the strategy for modernization and improvement of ferry services, developing a traffic circulation plan with improved infrastructure such as segregated traffic lanes and modern matatu terminus, replacing 3 old ferries with new modern vessels, with the first one expected in April 2026. conducting continuous maintenance and upgrades of the existing fleet. Diversion of traffic. The operationalization of Dongokundu bypass, this has already diverted over 60% of the 6,000 vehicles that previously used to use the Likoni crossing. Implementing the Likoni aerial cable car project. Once completed, this project is expected to divert an average of 180,000 people daily. I will repeat that. Implementing the Likoni aerial cable car project. Once completed, this project is expected to divert an average of 180,000 people daily. Construction of Mombasa Gate Bridge. This future project will provide an additional crossing option, further diverting vehicles from the ferry service. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the Ministry assures the House that the ferries in operation are in good condition and are adequately insured. The Ministry is committed to the safety, efficiency, and modernization of the ferry services and the surrounding transport infrastructure. I read this on behalf, Honorable Speaker, I submit on behalf of Honorable G.K. Karaoke, Chairman, Departmental Committee of Transport and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Honorable Daud. Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, sijaridhika na majibu yake Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa sababu hata hii MV Safari, MV Jambo ambao anasema iko sawa, ukienda hata sasa hivi Mheshimiwa Spika, zile stairs zote zimeisha. Watu wakikanyaga mnapata mguu umeingia ndani, mtu aweza kwa anguka ndani ya maji. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, area ambao walikuwa wamesema inanunuliwa, kila tukija kuuliza hapa bungeni huwa wanakuja wanakuambia 2025 tarehe fulani, mwezi fulani. Sasa leo amsukuma paka 2026 wakati ambapo pesa zilishatolewa za kununua feri Mheshimiwa Spika. Na Mheshimiwa Spika pia amezungumzia juu ya zile barabara ambazo zatumiwa na magari. Mheshimiwa Spika, wakati feri inasimama ukienda pale utasikitika. Wananchi wanatumia barabara ya gari na gari pia zinaondoka, kunaweza tokea ajali kubwa pale sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo ni vizuri na ni jukumu la wale ambao wanahusika pale wahakikishe barabara ya wananchi iwe inatumiwa na wananchi, lakini sio kuja kutuelezea ndio barabara imetengezwa lakini wanaruhusu pia wananchi wanapita pale, malori yanapita pale, yaweza ikatokea ajali kubwa sana pale ndani ya feri. Kisha wakati feri hasa wakati wa jioni watu wanajazwa sana Mheshimiwa Spika ndani ya feri moja. Unapata watu wamejaa mpaka wamesimama kwa ramp. Ile ramp wakati mwingine huwa inateguka. Ikiteguka inaweza kumwaga watu baharini Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi nataka kusema kamiti ambayo inashughulika na mambo haya, ndugu yangu Rahim na wenzake, wahakikishe kuwa wanaleta habari ambazo ni za sawa katika bunge hili, kuhakikisha kuwa wananchi wa Mombasa hasa wanaotumia kivuko cha feri wako salama pale kwenye feri Mheshimiwa Spika. Jambo lingine amezungumzia juu ya Dongokundu. Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna tetesi kubwa sana pale Dongokundu. Magari ambayo wanatuma kupitia upande ule wanataka kuanza kulipisha. Kuna mtu amekaa pale alipishe magari kwenda upande wa pili. Mheshimiwa Spika, Kenya nzima barabara zimejengwa, Thika Super Highway, mabarabara mengine, kwengine hawalipishi. Kwa nini wakazi wa Mombasa na Pwani waweze kuanza kulipishwa kutumia barabara ambao wametumiwa kujengwa na ushuru wao? Ikiwa feri wanataka pesa, waangalie barabara wa magari ambayo yanapita pale walipishe kama kawaida pale. Lakini Dongokundu kama mama county wa Mombasa, siwezi kuwa radhi kuona kuwa watu wangu wanalipishwa pesa kuvuka upande wa Dongokundu kwenda upande ule mwingine. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi naomba Mheshimiwa Rahim na kamati yako muweze kuangalia, na hata wale ambao wanasema wanataka kupanua ile barabara kutoka ndani ya feri kwenda. Kuna wale ambao walikuwa na maduka yao pale, kuna wanabiashara walikuwa pale, wengi hawajahusishwa katika jambo hili. Na juzi walitaka kufanya maandamano, mimi nikasema hapana, wacha hili ni swala ambalo nitakuja kuliuliza ili muweze kupata haki yenu. Ikiwa kuna kitu kinataka kufanyika na serikali, tunajua miundo misingi ni lazima ili serikali ya Kenya ama Kenya iweze kupendeza. Lakini wale ambao wataathirika lazima waitwe kwenye meza ya mzunguko waweze kupewa na wao haki yao. Hata mtu akitoka pale anajua biashara yangu imevunjwa lakini naenda sehemu nyingine. bungeni, lakini wasipohusishwa ndo tunaanza kuletea president makosa ambayo hata hajui hana. Kwa hiyo mimi nakuomba ndugu yangu ambao wako kwenye kamiti hii muweze kufuatilia hili jambo, muhakikishe kuwa hizi feri MV Jambo pia stairs zake ni mbaya, watu wakipanda wanadondoka kwa maji. Hatutaki hizo story kabisa. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Rahim. Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know when you listen to Mheshimiwa Zamzam and how fluent she is in Swahili, we tend to get lost at times in her very good Swahili. But I really wanted
reminds you of a book by Shaban Robert called Wasifu Wasidi bin Saad.
Hey. Hicho sijasoma. So let me not even attempt to say what I wanted to say in Swahili, Honorable Speaker. And even as Honorable Rahim responds, because the Dongokundu bypass is a very critical link to link the mainland and the south coast, rather the south coast and the island of Mombasa. But we also have the ferry connection. And you know, Honorable Speaker, the policy that government was pursuing in the construction of many of these bypasses is to create convenience and especially to serve the tourism sector in the south coast. But for the locals, and you will realize, Honorable Zamzam, many of the people who traverse between the island and the mainland in the south coast, the bulk of the population uses the ferry because it's shorter for them. So I was really pleading that for us as leaders, we need also to be informed by the policy that the government is trying to pursue to ensure, one, that you create those alternative routes, but where it is possible to toll these roads, because they are huge capital-intensive investments that the people of Kenya are making in creating many of these bypasses. That is why you see the expressway. We pay to use the expressway because we have the alternative of the old Mombasa
to us what is happening. And you have noted that is not in the order paper for today.
Coming today, or we said next week at the House Business Committee?
Last week we had said you would be coming this Wednesday.
Majority
but
leader?
Majority Leader could maybe explain to us what the position is.
Yes, Mwenje.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just before the Majority Leader responds, Honorable Speaker, I remember the Chairman for Transport said that the balances for the financial year 24-25, 22 and 10% would be received as of Friday last week. Honorable Speaker, it's important we bring it to your attention that those balances have not been received as of this afternoon, Honorable Speaker. So perhaps as the majority responds, he can comment on that. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I was just confirming from Honorable Robert Mbui whether there is indeed a circular, because he also says he's just had. I've not seen it. But let me pick that matter up with the CS.
If it's just had, it remains hearsay.
As we said yesterday in the House Business Committee, I'll pick up the matter with the CS. In fact, he was to come see me today, and he has not been. I was away. I was held up in a party meeting. And I'll pursue that with him tomorrow. And if possible, he can come next week. Since we have CSS coming, 2 CSS on very light issues, he can also come and deal with those 2 issues, including the issue of disbursement that Honorable Mwenje is raising.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 8, the Government-Owned Enterprises Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2025, second reading, question to be put.
Thank you. Members on their feet, take your seats. Women Rep Kitui, take your seats. Thank you, honorable members. I'll now put the question at order number 8, which is that the Government-Owned Enterprises Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2025, be now read a second time. As many of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the establishment, control, governance, performance and ownership of government-owned enterprises, public service obligations in respect of government-owned enterprises, facilitate the reconstitution of existing government-owned enterprises into public limited liability companies for the transfer of the assets, liabilities, and business of the government-owned enterprises to companies and for connected purposes.
Honourable members, going forward, I've been requested by the Majority Leader and have acceded to reorganize business as follows. After order number 8, we'll go to order number 10. After 10, we'll go to order number 12. After 12, we'll go to order number 11. They are all not very long motions. And thereafter, we go back to order number 9 and order number 11. Then thereafter, the orders will follow sequentially. So, clerk, you note that. While we are at that, allow me to recognize in the Speaker's gallery a visiting delegation from the United States of America and Republic of Chile. I wish to introduce to you a delegation from the United States of America and Republic of Chile seated in the Speaker's row. Actually, they're in the gallery, they're not in the row. The delegation comprises Juan Carlos Aquipe from Chile, lead of the delegation, Daniela Guerrero from Chile, and Daniel Grotenas from USA. The delegation accompanied by a member of the Kenya National Breakfast Secretariat, I believe it's Prayer Breakfast Secretariat, is on a visit to the National Assembly of Kenya to observe our proceedings. On behalf of the House and myself, we warmly welcome them to the Parliament of Kenya and wish them fruitful engagements and a pleasant stay in our country. Next order.
Order number 10, the Capital Markets Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 30 of 2025, second reading.
Majority Leader. Yes, point of order from Chepkonga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It was supposed to be Honorable Elachi, but since I am the chair of the National Prayer Breakfast...
She's engaged in a discussion with the member.
Chairman, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our 3 visitors, together with Mr. Anguka, to the National Assembly. They are here, Mr. Speaker, to benchmark on our National Prayer Breakfast. Chile has also a very interesting National Prayer Breakfast in which we send our own delegation this year to Chile, composed of the Honorable Malio, who visited Chile for their National Prayer Breakfast. So they are most welcome to observe our proceedings. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Capital Markets Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 30 of 2025, be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, this bill is a very short bill. As members may have noticed, almost only a two-clause bill, and therefore a very short bill with a singular purpose or object of amending the Capital Markets Act of 2024 to refine the provisions that relate to shareholding limits within different licensing categories. And this amendment, Honorable Speaker, this amendment bill seeks to delegate the authority to prescribe specific shareholding limits depending on the license category to the Cabinet Secretary in consultation with the Capital Markets Authority. And this change is intended to provide greater flexibility in the regulation of shareholding limits, allowing for more responsive and context-specific regulatory adjustments. Honorable Speaker, the bill seeks to amend Section 29, subsection 4 of the Parent Act, and relates to licenses that relate to the professions such as licensed stockbrokers, brokers of derivatives, fund managers, investment banks, and other licensed stockbrokers that work with the Capital Markets Authority, and subsections 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the Section 29 of the Capital Markets Act that we seek to delete and insert a new paragraph, had limited the shareholding in such companies to at least a third, or rather 33.33%, or even the directors of such companies must be at least 3 directors of such companies as fund managers, stockbrokers, brokers of derivatives, and such other licensees that I have mentioned earlier. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, what we intend to do, or what National Treasury intended to do with this particular amendment, is to make it more flexible, such that if the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury, in consultation with the Capital Markets Authority, feels that for the stockbrokers, for instance, you could have 2 directors, a company with 2 directors who hold 50% shareholding, then you could allow that. And the principal reason, Honorable Speaker, is that this restrictive shareholding that is in the Act has made it difficult for people to invest in fund management, stock brokerage, Honorable Speaker, and such other licensees of that are intended under this Section 29. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, they've made our capital markets very restrictive and, in a way, curtailing trade and investment in the capital markets. And you know, Honorable Speaker, capital markets play a very pivotal role in the growth of the economy, because the capital markets link the suppliers of long-term capital, such as pension funds, those investments funds, stockbrokers, SACCOs, insurance companies, and other long-term institutional investors. And they link such investors with the users of capital, or the actual users of capital who are listed in the stock exchange and who intend to raise capital to then use that capital to produce goods and services that are for use by the public. And therefore, the capital markets play a very important role in our economic development as they promote the growth of the real economy by being able to link the suppliers of capital to those who are utilizing that capital. And therefore, because the suppliers of that capital are those licensees that are referred to under Section 29, subsections 4, 5, 6, and 7, that is why we amend so that we create that desired flexibility that would enable us to be able to get more people investing as fund managers, as brokers of derivatives and stock brokers. And this, Honorable Speaker, I have seen in my research that in countries where this is open or where they have made it this flexible, it has in a big way changed their capital markets authority, Honorable Speaker. And there are many, many, many examples around the world, including our good neighbors, Tanzania, who in 2016 had a 60% cap on foreign ownership of listed companies, and they lifted this cap in 2016, allowing full ownership. And indeed, Honorable Speaker, and this is data I got from ISPAC, being an accountant, ISPAC says that, noted that the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange experienced increased interest from foreign investors with very notable improvements in market liquidity and activity. And therefore, just by borrowing from that particular example of the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange, when they lifted their cap, they were able to attract very many foreign investors coming to invest. Because you find a fund manager, probably in the West or in the Republic of Chile, who are visiting here, they may have fund managers, or even from the US, they may have fund managers who have either one or two directors or shareholders, and we were curtailing them from coming to invest in our stock exchange market. When we lift this threshold, Honorable Speaker, we will be able, for the Cabinet Secretary in charge of the National Treasury, definitely in consultation with the Capital Markets Authority, be able to license or to allow licensees to hold either 1, 2, or even 5 directors, and shareholding that could be above the 30 or 33.33% that was allowed under the 2004 Act. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, as I've said, this is a 2-clause bill with that singular purpose, and therefore beg to move. And I want to request the Honorable Mboni Mwalika, who is a very diligent and very active member of the National Planning Committee, to second. And I beg to move and request Honorable Mboni to second.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. As Majority Leader said, I think this 33% has been very restrictive, and we need to open it so that we can get more investors coming in. Therefore, the company is being able to mobilize resources for expansion. With those few remarks, I second. Thank you very much.
Order members on their feet. Pauline Lenguris, take your seat. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order number 10, which is the Capital Markets Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 30 of 2025, be now read a second time. I put the question. I see a few names on the screen. I don't know if they're queuing for this. Dorothy Kiara, are you queuing for this?
Thank you, Chair. I see this is progressive and I support.
Naomi Wako is not here. Rindikiri Mugambi, you are not queuing for this, are you?
I can, Mr. Speaker.
No, it's not you can. Are you queuing for this or not?
Yes, I need to contribute.
Go on.
Mr. Speaker, I think we are living in a dynamic financial environment. One of the things that we really need to enact is rules and regulations that allow competitiveness and new entrants into the market. Capital Market Authority plays a great role in this country, Mr. Speaker. And for us to be able to continue enhancing future investment, there is need to create an attitude of innovation and growth. There are so many financial products that are emerging in the world business sector, and if we make our regulations more flexible, we should be able in the future to enhance the entrance of new products into the market. Mr. Speaker, that we need more entrance into the market. The problem is that there is a tendency of creating monopolistic situations, and when we have a capital authority that is legit and want to control everything, Mr. Speaker, we will not be able to grow the financial sector properly. The other one we need, Mr. Speaker, is a capital market that is ready to adjust to the dynamics of the market. Mr. Speaker, we are in Africa, and I think among the best performing capital market authority are Kenya, South Africa, I think Nigeria. And for us to be able to become more competitive on that, it means we need to have regulations, rules and regulations that will enhance our competition. Mr. Speaker, there are so many foreign investors who would like to come to Kenya. And with this kind of dynamic situation, we should be able to attract more and more investors to come. With that, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think this is a straightforward matter. It is logical and it makes a lot of sense to make it possible for people with different shareholdings to be able to trade in the stock market. But Mr. Speaker, I cannot support any law that gives CSA's authority to exempt certain organizations or certain companies over others. If this was a law that was saying that all the shareholding would be open up for everyone, then that would make sense. But we cannot be making laws that are for specific individuals, because in the case here, the CS is being given power to be able to do those exemptions in consultation with the Capital Markets Authority. Mr. Speaker, why can't it be open-ended so that anyone who is trading and who wants to trade and has the ability can then be able to register the organization and get the licenses that are required? So I am opposed to the part where we are saying that we are giving the CS authority to give exemptions to certain licensees and not all of them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for according me this opportunity to weigh on this. And allow me to say, as I'm speaking, I speak as a member of the Committee of Finance and National Planning. Mr. Speaker, I know the discussion around security markets, capital markets is a bit a difficult discussion, and it requires a lot of understanding on financial matters. The spirit of this particular amendment on Section 29, Mr. Speaker, is that the current act before this particular proposal has limit, has protected, has prescribed the limitations of the shareholding, specifically on the regulated entities, not any other entity. And I want, with due respect, as I refer to my good friend on the other side, this is purely regulated. These are entities that the government has interest in it. The current Capital Market Authority Act has prescribed the limits. And with that one, it has created a scenario where there is no flexibility or response to the market conditions. This has been informed by the difficulty or limitations for these specified or these talked about entities that are regulated in nature for investors to get an opportunity to put more money in it because of that provision. And this one now is flexing it, allowing the Cabinet Secretary to read the mood of the market on those given entities. Because the essence of Capital Market Authority is to facilitate the transfer of resources from one end, the person who have, to the point where it is needed for the purpose of development, for the purpose of expansion, for the purpose of investment, for the purpose of developing the market scenario with an objective of profitability, and say it so. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this particular amendment and to say that we allow the Cabinet Secretary so that the Cabinet Secretary can be able to look around of course, in consultation with the Capital Market Authority, in consultation with the experts in that particular sector, so that a given entities can be given a leeway in terms of registration and licensing, so that we allow people, and more so, not alone the big men in the market, even the young people, even the young investors, the small scale, those who have got knowledge on diverting or divesting their investment, those who want to spread their risky portfolio, so that they can have what they can and be able to allow the small investors have an opportunity other than limiting. We can also have our big people, those in the market, those outside, the multinationals, those who are looking for opportunities. Right now, if you look at the New York Stock Exchange, the other day we had trouble with the issue of changes in the dollar currency, because the demand, when the security market in America, when they sat down and decided to reduce their rates, and most people, to increase their interest rates, most investors moved their money to the New York Stock Exchange. And that's why it gave us a shock in the other markets, small markets like Kenya, where our dollar was going up the exchange rate. When you allow these limits to go up, we will invite those interested investors in UAE, in the London, in any other country, those who look at the behavior of our economic situation. And more so, we want to appreciate the macroeconomic behavior of our country. As we speak now, the macroeconomic situation of Kenya is so desirable, is so encouraging, and there are many people who have confidence in our situation in our Kenya, and they want to come in. But the moment they want to come in and put more resources, they are told, come on, no, you cannot go beyond here. You are limited to invest up to this limit. And sometimes they want to compare the cost-benefit analysis. They want to compare the opportunities between Kenya and any other country. And at this moment, some of us or some of the investment, like now we are talking about PPP. We want to do this Mau Summit Road. We need money under PPP. There are people who are willing to put their money there. But because of this ceiling, they cannot risk put their money when they don't see any opportunity or gain in it. So, Mr. Speaker, this particular amendment will allow that person to say, choose option A as Kenya or option B or as the other country. So let us create that opportunity so that those options can be here. So with that on my own understanding, allow me to support this one and to say that it is the right thing for us to do, it is the right opportunity for us to do, and even to ask the other Kenyans. Some of us would have other resources and they are defeated on where to put. There is an opportunity now in our security market so that we can retain our money other than flying our capital outside. We can invite capital to the country and we can develop our country. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I support this.
Yes, Omanyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support as well.
After Omanyo, move a bit to reply.
Okay, I rise to support because when you look at the current way of licensing, the approval is a long thing. The bureaucracy involved, stages that are involved scare away investors both domestically and internationally. So we need to, this law will help us easy ways of doing business, and also it will help any person who's doing business, their property to be protected, the rights of owning and the rights of running businesses will be protected. So I just wanted to top up on what my colleagues have said. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mover.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me thank the members who have supported this bill. And as many of them have said, it's a very good bill, very progressive, and is in line with international best practices to open up our Capital Markets Authority and allow our Capital Markets Authority become an avenue for capital mobilization and for the growth of our economy. With that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
Thank you. Members on their feet, take your seats. Order members, wait on, take your seats. Thank you, honorable members. Allow me to now put the question at order number 10, which is that the Capital Markets Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 30 of 2025 be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say nay. Nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Capital Markets Act.
Next, I'll call out order number 12.
Order number 12, the Provisional Collection of Taxes and Duties Repeal Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2025, second reading.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Provisional Collection of Taxes and Duties Repeal Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2025, be now read a third time. Honorable Speaker, just like that bill that we have just passed, this is a very short bill also, and all it is seeking to do. Honorable Speaker, if you can protect me from the Honorable Makilap.
Order, Honorable Makilap and your group. That Kamkunji is unlawful. Go on.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was saying, for the interest of Honorable Makilap and Honorable Chepkonga, that this also is a very short bill. It is seeking to repeal the Provisional Collection of Taxes and Duties.
And Honorable Sane, he was a co-conspirator there.
I don't even notice Honorable Sane because he's in specs. Seeking to repeal the Provisional Collection of Taxes Act. And as members know, this is a very old piece of legislation that was enacted and ascended to in 1959 in pre-colonial Kenya, that allowed the colonial government to even collect taxes ahead of the passage of the finance bill. And with the 1963 constitution, that law continued being there. And with the 2010 constitution, this law has become redundant because now with the finance bill being the only law that allows government to be able to collect taxes, we need then to repeal this particular piece of legislation. And that is all that this bill is doing, and I don't need to belabor anything beyond that. It is a very archaic piece of legislation, out of time and out of tune with our 2010 constitution, and therefore we just seek to repeal it, since it has already been ruled to be unconstitutional. Honorable Speaker, you know, following the promulgation of our constitution in 2010, the High Court in 2018 declared that the use of the Provisional Collection Order was unconstitutional on the basis that it undermined the parliamentary authority over the enactment of tax laws. And Honorable Speaker, we have always said it is only this House and only the National Assembly that has the powers to impose taxes on the people of Kenya. And therefore, even the Cabinet Secretary now cannot, as they would have done before under this particular act. And therefore, if the House supports this, the repeal of this particular piece of legislation, we just be doing what is expected of us by the Constitution and to align with that particular ruling of the court in 2018. And I beg to move and request the Honorable CPA Ruto to second.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I think as the spirit of this particular amendment goes, this is informed much by the declaration of the court and by the fact that Kenya now, we have a new constitution that has reorganized the governance of the country and the structure of administration, up to including the issue of revenue raising. Article 95 of the constitution has given the sole mandate to the National Assembly, sub Article 4, that it is as mandate to determine, to discuss the issue of the revenue collection and allocation. So, Mr. Speaker, so that, and this is one of the instruments, and I wish to call upon this House, probably through the Committee of Delegated Legislation and the Committee on the JLAC, to not only this one, let us not wait for the court to tell us. It is time. We are almost 13 years after promulgation of the new constitution, so that any obsolete law that is still being confused or to being referred to should be aligned, so that we avoid cases of litigations and injunctions that we've been experiencing over time. Some of the cases that even courts pronounce itself are cases that are of laws that have already been defeated over time. And it is something that we need to clear them, repeal them, so that it cannot be reversed. So with that one, I stand to support this particular amendment. Thank you so much. I beg to second. Thank you.
Thank you. Omolher, take your seat. Majority, take your seat. I now wish to propose the question at order number 12, which is the Provisional Collection of Taxes and Duties Repeal Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2025, be now read the second time. There being no contributors, I'll now put the question, which is the Provisional Collection of Taxes and Duties Repeal Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2025, be now read a second time. As men of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to repeal the Provisional Collection of Taxes and Duties Act and for connected purposes.
Call out clerk, order number 13.
Order number 13, motion in inquiry into the matter of reduction of electricity costs in the country.
Gikaria, Chair, Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. No, sorry. Chair, Departmental Committee on Energy.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Gikaria.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, let me thank you for according us an opportunity for us to be able to lay and table this report yesterday. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the addendum report of the Departmental Committee on Energy and on inquiry into the matter of reduction of cost of electricity in the country and approve the lifting of the moratorium on the signing of...
Order. What are you reading? Just read the motion as framed on the order paper. That's what you are moving.
Okay, Honorable Speaker.
You are reading something else.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report, the addendum report of the Departmental Committee on Energy on the inquiry into the matter of reduction of electricity cost in the country laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 11th November 2020.
Very good. Now you can go on to say the things you are trying to say.
Sorry, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, first of all, let me thank the members of the Energy Committee, Honorable Speaker, for the good work and the dedication of the time that they spent to be able to dispense off this very important matter before the House. Honorable Speaker, this inquiry had been tabled sometimes on 25th of November. But of course, Honorable Speaker, as the standing orders are, the motion did lapse, and that is why we are tabling it again. Honorable Speaker, it is just to bring to the attention of this House that Kenyans have been complaining so much regarding the cost of electricity. Honorable Speaker, this country generates around 2,300 megawatts a day, with a demand of roughly 3,000 megawatts that are required. But at the same time, Honorable Speaker, that also is not enough. As a country, the President and this administration has pronounced itself that we want to industrialize this country. We want to go into manufacturing. Honorable Speaker, we cannot be able to go into that direction and become a developed country if we are not able to generate enough power, not only enough power, but cheap power that will attract investors who will come into this country and be able to invest. Honorable Speaker, I want to bring to the attention of this House that in the past we had so many investors who wanted to come into the country, but because of the moratorium that was placed again by this House some times back, then we discouraged the investors coming back to be able and invest in this very important sector so that we can be able to improve our economy and we can be able to grow, not only from what we have always said, from a third world country, Honorable Speaker, to a developed country. And of course, Honorable Speaker, one of the biggest enabler for any development in a country and the economy, Honorable Speaker, is the energy generation. Honorable Speaker, this House has invested so much and budgeted so much money into the generation. We were concentrating before that, Honorable Speaker, on the transmission of energy. But Honorable Speaker, it is important to bring to the attention of this House that for the last 2 years, we have budgeted enough money to be able to generate enough energy to be able to propel the economic activities of this country, Honorable Speaker. However, Honorable Speaker, it has not been easy because sometimes we depend on donor funding and sometimes, Honorable Speaker, because again, much of the donor funding, Honorable Speaker, it is engineered by renewable energy. And Honorable Speaker, with the global warming that is the talk of this, the world, actually the whole world, then we need to go to the renewable energy, where we are talking about using the various resource that our God has provided for this country, and that is what the sun, and we can do a lot through solar, wind, Honorable Speaker, and I want to report, Honorable Speaker, the Turkana wind power brings to us almost over 110 megawatts in a day through the wind power generation. Honorable Speaker, we had a discussion as a committee as to how then do we bring down the cost of electricity. Honorable Speaker, there were some suggestions which had been placed. Honorable Speaker, most of the investors who want to invest in the energy generation are not Kenyans, they are foreign. So we as a committee decided that we do a hybrid financial system of supporting this very important sector, Honorable Speaker. And we decided as a committee that if you're a Kenyan, then we can use the denomination of the Kenya shillings. And if you're a foreigner, again, Honorable Speaker, we can be able to bring in the foreign denomination so that we are able to encourage all investors, local investors, and any other foreign investor who comes into the country. Second, Honorable Speaker, we did agree that most of these agreements have not been passing through the office of the Attorney General. Honorable Speaker, it was a debate that we discussed in our meeting, and it was agreed that for every agreement that is to be signed, Honorable Speaker, then the Office of the Auditor General must be involved. But at the same time, Honorable Speaker, it was raised by the Ministry of the time and maybe the delay or bureaucracy that the Office of the Auditor General would take. So we agreed again on a time frame, Honorable Speaker, and the report stipulates very clearly that if in that auction, energy auction that will be done, 30 days is the maximum number of days that we give the Office of the Auditor General to be able to go through and be able to either give the concurrence of that office or does not give an approval and give an advice, a legal advice on what should Attorney General, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, over and above that, there was an aspect of whether the reports and this agreement should be coming to Parliament. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that as a committee, we agreed that this House has two options. Either we wait for the Auditor General to do their audit and maybe that report goes to PAC. Or, as a Committee on Energy, we can also request through the Energy Act, the ministry is supposed to give us an annual report on these kind of issues. So again, we have agreed that instead of coming to Parliament, Parliament will have an opportunity either from inquiries that have been done by the Auditor General or as a committee of this House, we can make a request. But most importantly, Honourable Speaker, we did put some a clause in this report saying that the Auditor General can make a special audit on a matter related to these PPAs. And that is a very fundamental aspect, Honorable Speaker, so that again we don't have to wait until the end of the financial year or a report is done. If as a committee we think that we need to request the Auditor General to be able to do that, then we, as a committee, we have agreed that the Auditor General can be requested to do a special audit so that we are able to. And this, honourable members, we want to just inform you, is that we have agreed as a committee that any agreement must not go beyond the 7 cents per kilowatt hour, Honourable Speaker. We find that some of these independent power producers, particularly outside the grid area, Honourable Speaker, are actually exploiting Kenyans by charging almost 23 shillings per kilowatt hour. I don't know how many times that is. Honourable Speaker, this is something that we have looked into, and we have agreed that in any agreement signed by the government, it must not go beyond the 7 cents per kilowatt hour, Honourable Speaker. And I'm saying this because geothermal, which is the cheapest and which is, we do pay Kenyan and GDC. No, it is Kenyan, Honourable Speaker. We pay only 5 cents per kilowatt hour. That is what, that is the amount of money KPLC buy energy from Kenyan. Honourable Speaker, we have also noticed that the use of diesel engines, particularly again in the off-grid area, has really affected the cost of electricity, Honourable Speaker. So without much ado, Honourable Speaker, I beg and I humbly request this House to consider and approve this report, agree with the committee that it is the high time. Honourable Speaker, with the moratorium, it has actually stopped investors from coming. So, Honourable Speaker, I want to make a humble request to my colleagues that we support this report and be able, so that we can be able to open up the space. There are so many members of my committee who are around, Honourable Speaker, who will be speaking to this, and maybe some of the issues that I have not been able to speak to. Then, Honourable Speaker, I wish to call upon Honourable Mulanya. Honourable Speaker, Elisha Odhiambo is telling me he's more senior than Mulanya, but because we had agreed that Honourable Mulanya will be, I know it is true, he's a ranking member of the committee. Yes, in the sector also. He used to work with KPLC. And he was not sacked. He actually resigned. Thank you. So I will ask Honourable Mulanya to second.
Yeah. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I rise to second the motion moved by the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Energy, for adoption of the addendum report of the Departmental Committee on Energy on the inquiry into the matter of reduction of the electricity cost in the country. Honourable Speaker, as the Chairperson has ably outlined the comprehensive findings and recommendations from our inquiry, I will not belabor the details. Instead, I will only emphasize why this report deserves the full support of this House. Honourable Speaker, this is not an ordinary report. It is an informative blueprint shaped through extensive stakeholder and public consultations, as well as expert analysis, all aimed at ensuring that every Kenyan access affordable, reliable, and sustainable electricity by tackling inefficiencies across the energy sector. Madam Speaker, building on the Chairperson's presentation, I would like to emphasize a few pivotal aspects that highlight the urgency and the impact of our proposals. First, on power purchase agreements, we are proposing that the moratorium on new PPAs be lifted, but with strong safeguards, which will include competitive auctions inspired by South African successful model, integration of battery storage systems to stabilize the grid, and hybrid currency contract. The hybrid currency, Madam Speaker, is the one that our chair has said that we are considering to have both the US dollar and the Kenyan currency, with the preference of the Kenyan currency for the investors who are the locals. Madam Speaker, secondly, we must deal decisively with power losses, which cost Kenyans billions every year. But this can only be done by fast-tracking key transmission projects through public-private partnerships and deploying smart grid technology. We can cut these losses to 14.5% within 3 years. That means that that will lower costs and a modern, efficient grid for, to the system. Thirdly, we need to operationalize reforms so that we optimize geothermal energy as baseload, completing the Kenya off-grid solar access project to expand off-grid solar access and delink Kenya Power and Lighting Company from government project management, so that we strengthen efficiency and restore commercial discipline in our utility. Madam Speaker, the report also calls for the creation of an independent IPP office to bring order and transparency in private power contracting. Forensic audit on pricing, licensing, and major projects such as Lake Turkana Power Wind will ensure accountability and fairness. Where necessary, non-compliant contracts will be reviewed or even terminated. Madam Speaker, at this time, EPRA must tighten its role. This will help enforce supply standards, review tariffs for night use and special economic zone, and stick to strict timelines in decision making. On heavy fuel oils, the report is recommending standard procedures.
Ka boikokobetso Mr. Speaker. Me go na le ya bohelo Mr. Speaker ya e buang ya gore ntlha o ka re bonno e bona lahatse maybe le batho ba ile gore ba itloka ga ba kgone go bona lahatse tota lahatse le a ga re bona ile gore re phaka lahatse re le bonno me ke supela gore Mr. Speaker kana ga se tlholontša ke tlhologolo mo Botswana go ntse go tsweletse go na le di land board go tsweletse go na le boshaka kwa go tsweletse
that the House adopts the addendum report of the Departmental Committee on Energy on the inquiry into the matter of the reduction of electricity costs in the country, laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 11th November, 2025. There was someone from the committee of... the committee who had requested earlier. You may proceed.
Start then the committee. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this addendum, and I want to thank the chair and the members of the Committee of Energy for the great work they have put in. And this addendum is very important for this country, as the chair, Energy, Honorable Gikaria, has said. For those who joined us for the KEPSA retreat in Mombasa, all the members who joined us, you remember one of the topical issues that cut across all sectors, whether it was infrastructure, whether it was the energy sector engagements, whether it was the tourism sector engagements, was the cost of energy in this country. And you cannot deal with the cost of energy without dealing with generation of the same energy. And I want to thank the chair and the committee because they have dealt with these issues extensively to ensure that we encourage the investors who are coming to sign in new PPAs to be able to generate more power and allow the country to have more power that will be able to bring the cost of electricity and power in the country further down to enable the industrialization of our country and also allow the connectivity of power to our rural constituents. Because whenever and wherever you connect power to people, you change their lives in a big way. Besides allowing them to have power, maybe to charge their phones, to have lighting in their houses, you also deal with health matters for them. Because those who expose themselves to the use of paraffin as a source of lighting, and especially those young ones who are doing their homework with the korobois or the tin lamps and paraffin kerosene lamps, expose their health to risks of inhaling fumes from paraffin that become detrimental to their health. Therefore, as leaders, we have an obligation to support this addendum. Two, Honorable Speaker, is the issue that had been raised previously by the committee, which they have now revised, on restricting that every power purchase agreement that is signed must be denominated in our local currency. While as we all appreciate that many of the investors that are coming into our country are coming from other countries, and indeed a good proportion of the investors in the power sector are actually foreigners. And therefore, it would not be right to restrict them to our local currency. It's only fair to allow people to transact in the currency that they're able to transact, even as we work together in the National Treasury to ensuring that we have a stable exchange rate so that, again, the exchange rate fluctuations that are reflected on the bills are not too much. But even when there are fluctuations of exchange rate, if the cost of power at the point of generating is low, and if there are more players in the sector, then prices are bound to come down. And Honorable Speaker, I beg to support this addendum and thank the committee because indeed, as we promised the private sector under the auspices of KEPSA in Mombasa, we will be addressing this matter, and now we are addressing it only a few days after we left Mombasa in that engagement with KEPSA. And I hope those in KEPSA can see that we actually mean business on the matters we engage. And I'm certain the sectoral committees that were dealing with energy, both from KEPSA and from the National Assembly, when they do their quarterly review, they will be able to report this as one of the achievements that came out of the Mombasa engagement. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to support.
Honorable Mawathe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish to contribute towards this very important bill for the country. We have started seeing some rationing, but as we open up the moratorium, removing, charging us 28 shillings of the dollar, 28 cents of the dollar, and 32 cents of the dollar. Let's stick to the correct and the fair price. When you sign a 20-year contract, you should be able to recover at the rate of about 6 cents or 7 cents or 6 shillings or 7 shillings within the next 10 to 12 years. Thank you. I support.
Honorable Member for Kuria East. I see you're number 2. Member for Kuria East, are you here? Okay. Member for Chebalungu. And let's keep it brief because there's a lot of interest on this. Honorable Mugambi, you're next. I'm just following the list.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. From the onset, allow me to support the report that has been tabled and actually conveyed by our chair. Honorable Speaker, we sat through several meetings, through several committee meetings, interrogating, getting to understand clearly what happened in the past, where there were some IPPs that were signed that are very costly and costing the common mwananchi a lot of money. Honorable Speaker, upon scrutiny, scrutinizing the same, we realized that the type of IPP or the contracts that were entered into, some of them carried obligations. Honorable Speaker, in a situation whereby you force Kenya Power to purchase through take or pay, where you produce and expect Kenya Power to purchase your power, even if that power is not used, Honorable Speaker, has gone, eventually has transfers this particular cost to the common mwananchi. Honorable Speaker, the issue of currency, where only foreign currency was allowed to dominate. Honorable Speaker, as a committee, we considered that one, and we said we adopt the hybrid system, where if you are a Kenyan, you are allowed to bid using the Kenyan currency. Honorable Speaker, if this report that we've tabled today is approved by this House, and we encourage that all the members approve this one, this report will actually go into curing the issues that were the issues that the contracts entered through IPPs were not in order. Honorable Speaker, allow me to support my chair and to encourage that we, as members of this august House, also approves this recommendation by the Committee of Energy. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Mugambi, member for Buri.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is not only capture that have interest on the cost of energy in this country. Our government agenda of manufacturing is dependent on availability of affordable energy. Madam Speaker, we are putting up so many ICT hubs. There is the Nyota program, there is manufacturing, there is e-commerce. Almost everything now is moving around the availability of affordable energy. Madam Speaker, as I like to support this report, one of the things that I expected to hear in this report is the timelines, because we can't wait forever. Madam Speaker, we need to be very specific, because we made so many promises to Kenyans that during our reign, the cost of energy will go down. That deficiency in this report.
We're not a monarchy, so you can't say during our reign.
During our time.
Our time.
Our time. Thank you, Madam Speaker, so gracious. Madam Speaker, if you look at your energy bill, there is something called fuel levy. Madam Speaker, then you go down there, see VAT. There is element of double taxation on my energy bill, which I haven't seen being addressed in this report. I'm happy that the tariff of the agreement has been addressed. But, Madam Speaker, it's very important to note that there are so many alternative sources of energy and agreement which are pending. There's solar proposals. Many people want to invest in solar energy, wind energy. Madam Speaker, this report should have brought it very clearly that the government policy is now to enhance the potential, or to annex the potential of wind and solar energy. But if we continue and all the old tariffs agreement were all based on hydro. And that's how, and supplemented with diesel or generators. Madam Speaker, we must reach a point where we are saying, up to this point, this is what we want to see being enhanced, and every other Committee of Energy comes with a report saying 5 projects of solar and all 5 projects of wind have been implemented. But if we continue relying and entering into agreement on the same old hydro energy, we will not be able to bring the cost of electricity down. But Madam Speaker, it's good, at least there is something that we can see. There were so many attempts that were done. We hope when we progress, I know there are so many interests out there. I know the committee is under a lot of influence because this sector has been invaded by very serious cartels. I'm happy that this committee now has gone against that, and now they are able to confront them and to give the Kenyan the best option. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. What's your point of order? Honorable Karoli, what's your point of order? Honorable Alicia, you just walked in. Okay. Okay, but you're just on a point of order because I'm following the queue. What's your point of order? Give him the mic.
Madam Speaker, I listened to the member for Buri, and the last statement he made was that in this sector it's full of cartels. That's true. I think that statement, he said cartels and influence, that statement,
you want him to withdraw? Or
he should withdraw it because it's not, he has not given valid facts. Number one,
That's correct. No, you've let him respond now. You've said, made your point.
And he said the committee is under influence. Which influence? From where?
Okay, Honorable Member for Buri.
So, what are you telling us?
That's actually a very serious allegation to make against the committee.
We are not being influenced.
Okay, let him speak. Give him the right mic. The mic is behind him. Give him the one at the front. They gave him the mic. Honorable Buri, it seems they've given you the mic that's behind you. Honorable Mugambi, go to the mic. They've now switched it off again. They've got the right one now.
Madam Speaker, when I say the committee is under influence, I did not say the committee is under influence to negate progress. And that's my interpretation. What I said, and it is true, what I said, and it is true, there are so many agreements, and they have said it themselves. Many agreements were done outside the legal framework. That's what I meant. But I can't blame Elisha for understanding because he hadn't settled. Yeah, and it was in the Power. He knows how agreements were being drawn. They were being drawn outside the Attorney General. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
What's your point of order? You're the seconder. What's your point of order?
Madam Speaker, thank you. My problem is that you had ordered that we requested that the Honorable Member for Buri withdraws the statement that the committee is under influence. He's repeating with the interpretation that does not suit any interpretation. So when he says, and it goes on record, that the committee is under influence, the previous agreements were not done by the committee. We don't draw any agreement for power purchase agreement. Ours were just, we only oversight the ministry. But which influence is he talking about that the committee is under? That's what is disturbing us, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Mugambi, you want to withdraw that?
Madam Speaker, I still insist. It could be interpretation or understanding of a statement. I'm actually congratulating for the committee saying the committee has negated all those influences if they were there. That's all what I'm saying, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Mugambi.
Yeah.
Honorable Mugambi, you should just say you don't mean negative influence. Then it's sufficient.
Madam Speaker, I have said it is not. You see, the people, if you go to the dictionary, I want to define influence, it can be either negative or a positive. In this context, it's not to implicate the committee
of any wrongdoing. Yeah. Okay, let us proceed. The Honorable Robert Mbui, I think you're next on the queue.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I want to confirm that I want to support that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Energy on the inquiry into the matter of reduction of electricity costs in the country. Madam Speaker, you know, we cannot have economic development in a nation if we do not have enough electricity and affordable electricity. So I think what the committee is doing is actually responding to a cry by the Kenyan public, particularly the manufacturing sector, because you cannot be able to manufacture if you don't have enough power and if the power is unaffordable. So I think this is a step in the right direction. But Madam Speaker, sometimes it's good to look at how did we get here. I think as a nation we need to have proper plans and policies that can last or stand the test of time. Because Madam Speaker, when Mwai Kibaki was president and my party leader was vice president, at least they came up with a plan that was, up to Vision 2030, that was looking at Kenya many years to come. But what has been happening is that regime after regime, we look at our problems in a very short period of time, short-term policies. And that is where the problem comes in. And everyone comes with promises. We are told will be taken from the bottom up. Mama Mboga will be sorted out, Boda Boda will be sorted out, but we end up still having this problem. So I think what needs to happen is that we need to come up with policies that can last for a long enough period so that we can solve these problems once and for all. Madam Speaker, one of the problems we have in the cost of power is the regime's policy on taxation. Madam Speaker, you remember that before the current regime came into power, we had VAT on fuel was at 8%. This regime pushed it to 16%. Our road maintenance levy fund, which is charged in the cost of fuel per liter, was 17 shillings. Now it is 25 shillings. So, Madam Speaker, what has happened is that when you increase the cost of fuel, obviously the cost of electricity also goes up, because that's one of the factors. So maybe we need to look at how do we get out of this electricity being generated using diesel fuel, so that we can be able to maybe deal with the water, hydroelectricity, probably solar, maybe wind-generated electricity, so that we can bring the cost down. Because we know, as members here have said, there is a lot of people that are benefiting from the deals that they struck a long time ago, which the committee is now proposing that we handle. Madam Speaker, as we talk about electricity, let us also address the matter of fair distribution of electricity in the country. It is not just the urban areas. Even in the rural areas, there are people that require electricity to be able to do their businesses. Manufacturing is not only the big corporates. There are also small people that are doing small works, small projects in the barbers. We are talking about the people that do welding in the villages. All those require to have electricity. But there has been skewed distribution of electricity connectivity in the country. And some areas have been left out, and it is important that this committee also addresses how to make sure that every corner gets its fair share of electricity connected in that area. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, I just want to say that if they will not be able to solve these problems, we have less than 2 years for this regime to finish its period, and then we take over, and then we can provide proper solutions. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
That is a bit irrelevant, though.
There is nothing else.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I was listening to Robert, and he was making very good arguments and very good points. And especially when he says, just as I said yesterday, and Robert, you better listen to me carefully, that there has been skewed rollout of development projects in this country over the years. Over the years. including the time when Kalonzo Musyoka, your party leader, was the vice president. There was very skewed rollout of development projects across the country.
Now you are all
But
bordering
today,
on irrelevancies.
Honorable Speaker, today, this morning, the president speaking from Ukambani has assured the people of Ukambani that they shall not be left behind in the rollout of development projects, whether it is in the rollout of electricity or housing or roads, because Honorable Speaker and Honorable Robert Bui knows that the rollout of development projects in the country, since the coming into power of the Kenya Kwanza government, development projects in Ukambani region have been tenfold as compared to the close to 30 years that his party leader was a leader in Ukambani and in the country. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
That's not a point of order. Let us move on. I think many members want to speak to this point, so we do not want to continue bordering on irrelevancies. Let's focus on the motion. The Honorable Makilap.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to be very objective and not to be dragged into politics of regimes. I want to become very objective for the betterment of the people of Kenya. Madam Speaker, the beginning of progress for industrial revolution or industrial take-up in Kenya is electricity, the cost of production. This report is the beginning of progress to ensure that we attract investors into our country, manufacturers who will turn around and create jobs and create an economic boom for Kenya. This country cannot become an industrial nation if the cost of power is still high. Madam Speaker, let us become very clear and very objective. What is it that has caused this cost of power to become very high until we enter into power purchase agreements in Kenya? How did we engage the independent power producers? Madam Speaker, we are in this situation because, one, we have not fully developed our own energy, electricity generating powerhouses in Kenya. For example, Madam Speaker, if we maximize production of geothermal power, clean energy. For example, Madam Speaker, the geothermal power produced in Olkaria, Naivasha, all the way to Salale, Paka, if it is fully exploited, it can be able to generate around 7,000 megawatts of energy. In that particular situation, if you add with the current supply in our country of 22,300, that goes to close to about 10,000 megawatts that can be able to lower the cost of electricity in Kenya. So what we are saying, Madam Speaker, is can we enhance supply so that the demand goes down and the cost will automatically go down? Madam Speaker, then how do we do this? Ensure we utilize and encourage investors in solar energy, we maximize on geothermal, and even at worst call for nuclear energy. Whenever we have mass production of power in Kenya, definitely the cost will go down. What is it that has also caused the cost of electricity to go high? The levies, the taxes in electricity cost in Kenya. If we remove those costs, then we are able to have energy at its lowest. Thirdly, Madam Speaker, how else can we do this? We must encourage remove taxes for those who want to invest in manufacture of parts, the cables, the things that we use to transmit power. If we manufacture it locally here, and we'll be able to, use it in our electricity connectivity. If we lower the taxes and importation of those particular things and manufacture things like transformers in Kenya, definitely you lower the cost of electricity. Madam Speaker, one thing that has also costed power in this country to be expensive is the way we are living as a country. Many Kenyans are scattered. Even to provide for them electricity is a big problem because of our way of living in Kenya. in other countries, people live in what is called nuclear settlement, people live in what is called linear settlement, and therefore providing electricity, health facilities, and other things becomes very easy. But the kind of living in Kenya makes cost of electricity become very expensive. Then how do we do things? And I think this is where affordable housing is a game changer, because you leave people in aggregation. If people live in an aggregation, then the cost of keeping them power, the houses, giving people power becomes easier. So what are we saying, Madam Speaker? We say, even in signing what is called power purchase agreements, what do we do about it? Why do we need to revise those agreements to ensure that when you are doing a purchase agreement, it does not include a time when you are not consuming power. The independent power producers are paid even when they are not supplying. And that makes it expensive for a country. Madam Speaker, we need to ensure that we go to this sector, and I support the committee, so that we rearrange the entire sector of electricity production in Kenya. So,
Honorable Longboko Malama, you shouldn't act surprised because you actually see the orange one before. So you should be white. Proceed, Honorable Malema.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think the issue of power and power prices, especially electricity, has been at the heart of many Kenyans, not only the industrialists, but also the domestic consumption of electricity. And if these measures by this report is going all the way to mitigate some of the challenges so that we can reduce the power and electricity prices, then that is very, very good. But partly what happened in this country is that sometimes back during the times of President Moi, there was general panic because we seemed to have had a drought which then made it not possible for us to have enough power. And also connectivity was increasing, and therefore the supply that we had could not reach out to many Kenyans, and therefore we had power rationing. To mitigate that, the president got into a panic mood, and quick fixers came around and brought the idea of the independent power suppliers who are still there. But the agreements that were made were not good agreements, and today they remain very, very bad agreements for this country. Because just picking up from the earlier speaker, what he said, it included even paying these people when they are not actually producing power. And later on, even those which have come in to be signed and who are going for the alternative power generation like solar and wind energy, we noticed that the agreements were signed without putting in place the batteries. And those companies did indicate and have always complained that the batteries were too expensive for them to actually purchase. And I think the chair should be listening to this, because that's where the core has been in terms of the recent agreements that we have, especially the ones of solar and the ones of geothermal and wind, that they are producing power, because when you talk at the authorities there, they tell you that they produce that power, but by evening, they cannot even supply the main grid with power, because they did not store that power at any given time. So it is just drama during the day, and also the authorities within the mainstream industry will tell you that during the day there's not much demand for power. So indeed, even Kenyan produces enough power that can really work during the day. When we have the real lack of power and we need to be supplied by the independent suppliers is at night. Unfortunately, they don't store their power in any way. So at night, they also cut off because they cannot supply power because they did not store. I hope this report will be including that these independent power producers must also have backup batteries so that they can supply the grid when the grid really needs power. Chair, during the day, Kenyan has enough power, that one you know, because I know you have done a lot of research. But during the times when we need the grid to be connected by the independent suppliers, even them they cannot, because they were trying to supply during the day when we did not need the power. Those are salient issues about this those who will be making these agreements must not go into deal fixing that will actually break the country in terms of the cost of power. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to support.
The Honorable Robert Basil, member for Yatta.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Allow me to, from onset, thank Madam Speaker, allow me to shed some lights on the importance of reduction of power in Kenya. Madam Speaker, we know very well we cannot be industrialized as a country unless we work on the reduction of power in this country, Madam Speaker. Kenya today is actually one of the leading production of geothermal power in Africa. At the same time, is also leader in production of hydropower in Africa. And it is very ironical. The cost of power in Kenya is very expensive, Madam Speaker. And we have to understand that job creation can only be realized in Kenya through investors, through establishment of factories, industries, and that can only be possible if cost of power is affordable or is reduced to a meaningful rate, Madam Speaker. Therefore, Madam Speaker, it's important to understand that the reduced cost of power in Kenya is going to make it possible to export competitive products, Madam Speaker, because currently we cannot compete with the rest of the world simply because our cost of power is quite high, and value addition in an agricultural input can only be done if power is cheap or is affordable for most of the households, Madam Speaker. Importantly, Madam Speaker, it's important to understand that connectivity and access to electricity in Kenya is quite low, particularly in the rural areas. I'll make reference in my constituency where connectivity in form of percentage is below 15%, Madam Speaker. And we are talking of 61 years since Kenya attained internal self-rule. Therefore, Madam Speaker, we need to look into this and ensure that through reduced power, there is improved or enhanced access of power to most of the household in the country, Madam Speaker, or Mr. Speaker. I can see it now, Mr. So, Mr. Speaker, this report comes very timely because it's going to give us evidence when we are making or when we are coming up with the legislation to be able to ensure power is cheap or is affordable in Kenya and put Kenya at the same level with other countries that have affordable power, which will make it easier to do business in the country, Madam Speaker. Importantly, this report is going to promote options for other sources of power. We are talking of renewable energy, which will boost the availability or the available grid to be able to connect businesses as well as households with the power, Mr. Speaker. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, through the report, which has been tabled by the Committee of Energy, we'll be able to strengthen or bolster regulations and governance within the sector of energy and make it realistic when it comes to the cost of power in this particular country, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, in a nutshell, I do support the inquiry or the report on the reduction of electricity cost in the country and urge all members will think for the right and come up with the proper legislations which eliminate hidden costs on power and make power affordable for all Kenyans. And also, let's also look into distribution of power, Mr. Speaker. We had other speakers talking of skewed distribution of power, which have been ethnicized and politicized in the country, Mr. Speaker. It is unfair to have certain areas with 98% electricity connectivity when others have less than 15% electricity connectivity, Mr. Speaker. And you know, when you connect a new customer, a new person to the grid, that's a new customer who is going to add to paying taxes, as well as who's going to ensure the government generates more revenue from power. Therefore, in a nutshell, I would like to support the motion and look forward to the bill that will put forward a proper legislation within electricity or within the sector of electricity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. There's a lot of interest in this, leader. The Honorable Ibrahim Saneh is on the list here. I'll just follow the list. All of you will speak on this. Proceed.
In supporting the committee's report, Mr. Speaker, the committee did indicate that the current power output is 2,300 megawatts in the country.
Mr. Speaker, that's wrong information.
That is what I have heard from the presentation of the chair.
It's not the correct information.
That is what is appearing in the report and documentation. Mr. Speaker, if I may be allowed to continue.
Nobody has stopped you. If you will listen to every sound around yourself,
thank you. I'm guided,
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I'm guided. The current energy output stands at 2,300 megawatts, and the demand is 3,000 megawatts, as indicated by the Committee on Energy.
Now that's proper. What's your point of order, Honorable Chair? Give him the microphone.
It is true. Mr. Speaker, the generation capacity of this country is 3,300. The effective capacity is 2,600. The consumption when Mama Mboga is cooking in the evening is 2,347.
So what's out of order?
He has said the capacity, the generation is 2,300, which is shortfall of our consumption in the evening when Mama Mboga is cooking. That's an important correction.
Very well, but I'm not sure that the correction you are giving is the most correct one. So you will speak on this and we shall hear what you'll have to say. Proceed, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I want to quote the chair of the committee verbatim, that he, on the floor of this house, he did indicate that our production stands at 2,300 megawatts and the demand is for 3,000 megawatts. If I may continue, that is still finite if we are to industrialize and at least lure more investors into this country, Mr. Speaker. The reduction of electricity costs revolves around three pillars, in my opinion, Mr. Speaker. It is behavioral in terms of energy users, and then infrastructural, and most importantly, an investment aspect of it. Mr. Speaker, when I talk of behavioral issues, I'm talking about use of energy efficient appliances at home. I'm talking of energy saving mechanisms at the user level, at the end use. I'm talking of efficient cooking systems. And when I'm talking of infrastructure, how much energy are we using from the efficiency of our grid, our national grid or off-grids? I'm talking of infrastructural issues in terms of are we upgrading our infrastructure, that which supplies energy? I'm sure our infrastructure is as old as independence, and we need to upgrade this infrastructure, Mr. Speaker. To go further, if we are to bring the cost of power in this country, it's an issue of supply and demand. If we inundate our market with more supplies of energy and invest in the sector, ordinarily then it means demand shall be met and the cost of energy by unit shall come down. But we have the opportunity, yet we don't invest in the sector, Mr. Speaker. For instance, look at the potential of northern Kenya. 70% of Kenya's landmass is endowed with solar energy. We can have off-grid solar power stations all over the country in northern Kenya. We can have mega solar power stations that can inject into the grid. These are not yet done. And they don't seem to be done. And unless we do that, we will be importers of energy than exporters of energy, Mr. Speaker. Look at the potential for other non-renewable energy sources. Water. Even in the dry land, in the asphalt, we have the potential to generate hydroelectric power. What do I mean? even when water is not available for household use, based on seasonality, Mr. Speaker. When it rains, there has been massive flooding in Asals. Suppose we harvest this water. We put up mega dams in northern Kenya. There has been flooding in Wajir, there has been flooding in Mandera, parts of Baringo, in Isiolo, in Marsabit. Every year, in and out, there had been serious flooding, disasters. We can at least diminish these disasters by creating bigger dams, harvest these waters, and use them for both domestic, agriculture, and hydroelectric power, Mr. Speaker. So it is about our investment into the sector that is making energy expensive. Otherwise, we have the capacity, we have the ability to generate power for export, Mr. Speaker. The other thing is wind. I'm happy the chairman has given compliments to the only source of power from Marsabit, which is wind generated, wind power. Let us ask ourselves, where is this wind coming from? In as much as wind movement is a function of pressure, atmospheric pressure at times, this wind passes through my constituency, Wajir North. That is the path of this wind. If it is going to Marsabit and we are generating such colossal amounts of energy, why is it that the government is not investing in wind power in Wajir North constituency? And if I may move with speed, the rest is about legal regime. I know we have been, it has been the niche of individual power providers who have taken advantage of the previous regimes. And I'm sure this committee has taken stock of that. There are changes. They are making sure that any new agreement will no longer exploit Kenyans. Mine is to encourage them to make sure that any IPP is in tandem with the needs of the.
Very well. You have also been able to tell us that you own the wind, and that's great. Let's have the Honorable David Mboni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, everybody knows that the country cannot industrialize without enough and cheap energy. Because energy is an input to manufacturing. Most of the companies, and you heard Majority Leader say, when we were in Mombasa last week, most of the companies and people, they were complaining that power is very expensive in our country, and it makes our goods and service very expensive and uncompetitive in the rest of the world. So we need to make power a bit cheaper. Mr. Speaker, connecting power in this country is very, very expensive. If you have a building, you do a building, and you want Kenya Power, a light incumbent, to come and connect for you, it takes a bit of time. At times, I even wonder, because you have to buy a transformer, you are connecting, you are giving them business, you are paying for the transmission line, and as well as the transformer. And at the end of the day, you are paying for power consumed. So these are areas which I think to make power cheaper, the committee need to have looked at. Why should somebody who want to be connected to power, why should somebody pay for transformer from Kenya Power? I think those are issues which we need to address. Mr. Speaker, for many years, we have not undertaken, we have taken very few major power projects. Apart from the wind power in Marsabit and Turkana, I don't think we have really taken a very major power projects. At the same time, demand for power is increasing because the economy is expanding. There were proposals to do Grand Falls Dam. There were also proposals to mine the core deposits in Mua, in Kitui County. And these things have not been done. Well, we are complaining we don't have power. If we did the Grand Falls, I think we'll be having a lot of water, a lot of power. Mr. Speaker, surprisingly, Ethiopia, they have done a very mega power plant, which they are exporting. They are exporting power to this country. Mr. Speaker, I had one of the speakers saying that we are not importing power, but we are importing power from Uganda. We import power from Uganda. We import power from Tanzania, Lunga site, Busia site. I think we are using power from Uganda. But this country has potential to produce enough power and develop. Mr. Speaker, the issue of independent power producers, the power purchasing agreement, I think this one thing which has been killing this country, because those contracts, those agreements, they were skewed towards the producers, not to this country. I remember at one point when the wind power in Turkana, I was told, I came to understand that the agreement was that even when